Thank you so much for joining us for Hey Girl. My name is Margaret Edwartowski, and I am coming to you from somewhere in and around Detroit City. And I am here to share with you some amazingly talented women who are also happen to be quite funny, and we're all going to have a really fun and funny conversation. If you are joining us for the first time, I am an improviser. I am a teacher, director, author, and I run a nonprofit in Detroit that is arts based, or I run a program that is arts based. And I have a very strong passion for the arts, but more than anything, I have a strong passion for supporting artists and connecting people with creativity. So the idea behind this show was I've worked with a lot of amazing women in my career, and I wanted to bring them some attention to the amazing things that they're doing and to celebrate them for, let's just say amazing again, for being amazing. Speaking of amazing women, I would like to introduce you to our show's producer and an amazing person, Jess. Jessica, come here!
Thank you.
I got an amazing rut.
You did, but I like it was amazing.
Thank you.
To say the least, yes. So thank you for that. I have to say too, the pre-chat before the show, I can tell this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. So
I'm stoked. And yes, it was very fun. There was part of me that was like, you know, when you're like, why aren't we recording this green room before the show?
This is gold.
I know, no pressure though. They're gonna fuck it up now because you said that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
It's also, and this is something poignant for you, it's apparently podcast night because everybody involved has a podcast,
which is amazing.
And you do multiple. We don't talk enough about you being amazing, so I would like you to talk about your podcast stuff.
That's so sweet.
Take a second.
I do also do a podcast, and since it's podcast night, I'll mention it. It's called Detroit Strange, and it's about anything that my co-host and I, Alex Soriano, deem strange in Detroit or sometimes Michigan because we take road trips.
And there's a lot of strange stuff.
There is. Thank you, Detroit, for being strange. We love it.
Now, that's through Planet Ant Podcasts?
That is through Planet Ant Podcasts, yeah.
Okay. Which is also a place that you have an important role. I'm like nudging. I'm like your mom.
Yes.
Why don't you tell them about your podcast network, honey?
I do help manage the podcast network, particularly generally the audio podcast. Obviously, I help with this lovely stream as well. Kind of a, I guess, like producer / directorial situation.
Yeah. Because you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Well, thank you for everything. I'm very lucky to have found you in this path.
Oh, I feel the same. We'll have a good show.
Thank you. You too.
Oh,
from where we will be able to see you.
Yes, it's okay. I'll have to mute myself because I always laugh really hard. So
we like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jess. A couple of thoughts before we bring on our guests. I just like to fire off the thoughts of the moment for me. Lately, they've all been pandemic related, so sorry for the bummer. But what I was thinking about today is that here's what's unfair about life. Bad shit still happens during a pandemic. Like, pandemic isn't enough to focus on. Like, all those life things that you have to deal with still happen. And I was thinking back to like year ago me, or a little before year ago me, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I think it was like, it's so bad. And no, I think that's sort of like this naivete, right? Because it's almost like when you're 40, looking back when you're 19, and like, oh, my hardest thing was like, how am I going to get away with skipping work and going to Cedar Point without getting fired? And, and you're 40, you're like, oh. Now, I feel like looking back to the beginning of the pandemic, and we know a lot more things now. It's not as dire as I was terrified of and whatever. But, I'm like thinking about, I have to wash my groceries and I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. And it's like, but I'm in February in Michigan after a year of being inside a house with a 7-year-old and a man I'm married to. washing groceries feels like a trip to Cedar Point, to be honest, at this point. So it's sort of like, I want to tell myself from a year ago, like, just go make some fucking sourdough bread and take your dog for a walk outside because it's nice in springtime. You're not dealing with February. But what's unfair is there's no valve to stop the bad shit from happening, right? You feel like this is a pandemic. I shouldn't have to deal with all this stuff. You still do. So, like your water heater's still going to take a shit, which ours did, these things just keep happening. So I have to have a surgery next week. And I feel like 110 years old and I should be complaining over a mahjong game at a senior center. I've got diverticulitis. I got a colon resection next week. I mean, my daughter-in-law put sesame seeds in the bread and my colon just went insane. Like I feel so old when I talk about it. But so I have to go like to the hospital. And like a year ago when COVID started, my husband had shingles. That was fun. And they didn't know what was wrong with him. And we thought, you might even have to go to the emergency room. And at that time, like the terror of it was, I imagine like that scene in Gone with the Wind when she goes to try to get the doctor to deliver the baby and they pan out and it's just like, soldier bodies like for miles. Like that's how I imagined the hospital was going to be. And now, again, that's that naivety, right? Because now I have to like go to the hospital and be there for like 4 days and have a surgery. I still have to do that. And in the like bad stuff keeps happening. I have to do all this prep that makes me feel like I'm an actor. So I'm dramatic and self-centered anyway. So all these bad things are happening. Now I have to drink 3 times a day. That's literally like swallowing a candle, like drinking a vanilla candle 3 times a day. I have to do these breathing exercises. They want me to exercise. I'm on it. And then I have to get this COVID test and then like stay separate from my family in my own house for like 4 days until I go to the surgery. So it's one of those things like, and I have friends that have gone through all these other things too, like challenges with family members and illnesses and financial stuff. And you just get to the point where you're like, just stick it on. I got it. Like just one more, no problem. I can handle it. The good news is we're still surviving, right? Knock wood. And we can focus on the good. Like as soon as I finish the surgery, I'm going to eat a bag, like a garbage bag size thing of popcorn that's just like full of nuts and like just throw sesame seeds on it just cause I can. Pretty soon it'll be spring and we can, do all that walking again and whatever. I'm almost at a year of not smoking, which I quit because of terror over COVID. So it's good. And, at some point when the supply chain works out, we're all going to get a shot. So life will go on. But man, we're all dealing with a lot of shit right now. Hang in there, friends. I feel for you. And we're going to get through this. One of the ways we're going to do it is by laughing. And I've got some really funny women here who are also very talented. And I can't wait to bring them on. So enough about me and my trials. Let's bring on our first guest. So Maggie O'Reilly began performing in 2013. And since then, she's gone on to teach improv, to write, perform, produce shows. She's the co-host of the podcast Vulnerability, which I have had the honor of being a guest on. And she performs weekly as a member of the home team at the Planet Amp Theater. And monthly at the AWOL Theater Company. These will be when we get to do theater again. Please warmly welcome my beloved Maggie O'Reilly.
Hey.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. How are you?
Girl, I'm good. How are you, girl?
Good. Oh my God, I love your face.
I know. I'm so happy to see you.
I know.
And I miss playing with you. So, so it's podcast night. You have a podcast,
Yes.
so you're allowed to be here.
Yes, I have a podcast, so I have been admitted.
With your co-host.
But he's not allowed to be here because he is not a girl.
He's not. Although we have had boys
Just kidding. Yes.
Under rare circumstances.
Yeah.
And you're also a Margaret derivative name. So
yes.
That's allowed for this portion of the show.
Yep. Shout out to all the Margarets out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are also Irish, which most of our panel
Very
is
much
this
so.
evening.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't escape it. It follows me everywhere.
And from a large family, which
Huge family.
you're in
Huge
with me.
family.
Good.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyone you want to shout out of that huge family tonight?
I hope my mom's watching. She
Aw.
is my cousin Nora is a huge fan of yours.
Really?
So yeah, she's a huge fan. She
Aw.
saw Nancy's last show when you guys performed Bottle of Red, and she's been obsessed with you ever since. So
Oh, well, hi, Nora.
yeah.
Love you.
So she'll be very excited. But yeah, I believe several of my relatives are watching, so that's awesome. But
Good.
yeah.
And you can hold it against them if they don't.
Yeah, if they don't, I will shun all of them.
Yep. And then you can really like passive aggressively send the YouTube link after it's over and be like, it was recorded.
Yes, it's up right now, but you should have watched it live.
I mean, it's really different when you watch it live because then you can like put in comments and
yeah, then you feel like you're a
correct
part of the
you.
show, you know?
Right. Speaking of which, friends, if you're out there and you have comments or questions for our guests or me, feel free to drop them and Jess will share them with us and we can talk to you. Well, welcome,
Yeah,
Maggie. I'm super excited you're
thanks.
here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Another home teamer coming up. This one is original home team. And I have I'm like beside myself that she's here. And the minute her face came on the screen in the green room, I was just like slightly overwhelmed with joy at seeing her. You saw my reaction.
I did, and it was very adorable.
I love you. Well, you know, in your early career, you don't think about it like everything you do. Then you're like, oh, we're going to do this project. You're coming, right? Like everything we did.
Yeah.
The next thing was like, we're going to do something at the gym. Are you available? Cool. Let's do it. So it was like, we did everything together. Okay. So Alana Elise is originally from Detroit. And she now does, I love this line in her bio. She does art stuff in Chicago. She acts, directs, sometimes writes, and coaches. She has 2 artistic homes, the Interrobang Theater Project, where she is also artistic producer. Nice. And the House Theater of Chicago. She's the founder and business manager of the Chicago Inclusion Project, which I really want to hear more about. They help theaters reflect real world diversity in all areas. And if you're interested in learning more about the amazing Alana Elise, you can check out her website at www.alanaelyce.net. Alana Elise, join us. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
You're making me get choked up. I'm a little,
I'm
a little cycly right now, and so
we're synced from 2 different cities.
Oh my god, and a decade apart. That's amazing.
Somebody out there's like, I knew these bitches were going to talk about their periods.
Right. You damn right. We are normalizing periods. But while I was waiting, I remember the last time I saw you.
Okay.
I came to town and I saw your thing with Mama Cass, that project. Like,
oh, you
I got
did?
to see that. Yes.
Right.
And I was so like, it was part of my choosing the dates that I was coming to town. So I had a new car.
That wasn't even that long ago then.
No, that was great. I saw that too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's when I saw you.
Oh, well, it's wonderful to see you.
And you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. You look so smart, like with all those books behind you.
Well,
yeah.
Very studious. And Piggy in the Brain.
Okay, yeah.
Are you so excited about the reboot?
Well, I didn't have Hulu. I finally got it. And I watched the first 2 episodes and I don't know how I feel yet.
Okay. All right.
You know?
I respect that. Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to watch it more than once.
Yeah, you do.
I've only watched it once, so I don't really have any feelings about it. Well, let's finish out this party. So Colleen Doyle grew up in Cleveland. I know this because that's where I met her. And she started doing improv and sketch comedy with a really attractive and smart improv teacher who has made a big impact in her life. I don't know. Before eventually she moved to Chicago. So there's a lot of commonality here. And she taught and performed at I.O. She continues to teach and coach and perform in LA now. Colleen co-hosts a podcast, see the theme, called Those Who Aren't. those who ain't. For more info, check out thecolleendoyle.com. Here she is, my darling Colleen Doyle. Hey, girl, you're quiet. Are you muted?
Oh,
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Now you have to tell everyone why you're muted because this is perfect for this show.
Yeah. I will use the line that I use. I live in the 7th circle of hell, a 1-bedroom apartment where my partner is coaching improv in the room next door, and his voice carries. It's one of the most attractive qualities about him, and so you might accidentally get some side coaching while you're here. Okay,
Perfect. I need
can
it.
use it. I can use it.
We're all rusty. I mean,
Yeah, I don't even know what improv is anymore.
No,
I've only done Zoom prov for a year, so
Yeah.
No.
Welcome, my love. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. And it's true, we met because you were, I want to say, my first teacher, if not my first, my second improv teacher ever of all time.
Oh, well,
so
I hate
thanks a lot for dragging me into the life.
Insert myself in your bio, but I was like,
no,
well, I was thinking about it because I was like 20 something when I worked in Cleveland. Like, I've been knowing you a minute.
Yeah, it's true. We were all.
You were like 14.
I was
Probably
9.
She was a very mature 9-year-old. Okay?
I was.
Yes.
We all went out for drinks and no one batted an eyelash because they're like, she can handle it.
She can. She can. That was a really interesting time because I took a plane to Cleveland to be there.
Hold on. What happened?
Pre 9/11.
Okay. Well, that wasn't exactly my take, but because it's about 2 hours, but that's okay. I love it.
I'm still
It's a
like
3-hour drive
from Detroit to Cleveland. You took a plane.
Well, I may be talking out of school here, but early on, there was more money than later.
Okay.
So in the beginning, they used to fly me to Cleveland from Detroit, and I would spend a few days there.
You're one of those.
It was a perk.
Yeah. And I had a new boyfriend, John Edwartowski.
I remember that.
And I used to pine for him while I was teaching in Cleveland a few days a week. Mm-hmm. We got a few comments from friends. Shane Kalminski.
Those are all my relatives.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I was teasing Maggie. The only reason she's on is because we get more viewership now.
You're welcome.
Is that Alyssa or Elisa?
Alyssa.
Hey, Elisa. Hey, girl. Cardi, DeMonico. Maggie is the best. Sometimes I go by Maggie, so that's probably what she's talking about.
These are all for you. These are all for you.
Me too.
And Alana goes by Maggie a lot.
Yeah.
Teresa Mitchell. Hey, girl.
Hey,
it's a
girl.
thing now.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a thing now. So I didn't think about this until we were leading up to the show, and I like to, usually put something out about our guests, like projects that they do or whatever. And then I realized this podcast commonality. So who wants to start in just doing a quick sort of tell everybody what your podcast is?
I'm going to start because I didn't mention it at first.
And yours is really interesting.
Thanks.
I mean, they all are, but
thanks.
Too late.
Mine's the most interesting.
She's been on mine.
yours is
Two
really good.
episodes dedicated to you. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
My podcast, I co-host with a gentleman by the name of Scott Sava, who I directed in a show at the top of 2020. It is You're On in 5, The Art of Understudying.
Oh.
And we are just trying to bring attention to its importance, trying to get decision makers to place value on it, monetary and resources, preparing people. And also, what we've been discovering is, how acting is a job that you don't get to call in on, like it has to be an emergency. So just trying to start to open some minds about how we think about that work and how we treat understudies, how we cast them. Because sometimes people are cast and the director is like, well, you're never gonna go on. No biggie. It's like, let's not do it that way. So just really trying to bring attention to that job of understudying.
That's very cool.
That is very cool.
And it's, in the sketch world, we don't think about it a lot because we don't have a lot of sort of understudies at the ready. It's more of a theater thing. So that's fascinating. And I want a parking lot question for all of us later, because like you said, we have such a show must go on thing. I want to hear from everybody sort of like, what was the worst physical shape you were in that you actually still went on and did a show, but I want to hear about the other podcasts first. So Maggie O'Reilly with your fan club all chiming in. Why don't you tell us?
The last couple were your fans, okay?
Yeah, we do. Michelle Broussard says hi to Alana.
Hi. And that Hello Moto bit, that's from Moto Prism.
Is it really?
Yeah, so who's Von Wink? Is that Mark Mikula?
I'm not sure.
Okay, but go on.
But I was wondering about that too.
Yeah.
That is
and
not one
hi,
of my
Kathy
relatives.
Salufo. How are you? I'm so excited that you're watching. So Maggie, the floor is yours. Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, I have a podcast that I host with my friend Brendan McCarthy, and we met doing a show in 2020. Actually, it might have been 2019 now, but who knows? The years don't make sense anymore. But we both love pop culture and just having actual conversations with people in the theater business instead of just doing bits. So we started a podcast called Vulnerability, and a guest comes on.
TEA, by the way.
TEA.
Vulnerability, like spill the tea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yes. Very clever.
Yeah. So a guest comes on, like Margaret has been on, and they tell stories from different stages in their life that has led them to the person they are. So they can be funny, they can be emotional, they can be embarrassing, whatever the guest is willing to share. We've had really great stories, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to more than just the one I was on.
Aww.
So that means I really liked it.
Yeah, it is. It's really great. Yeah.
It was very cool. Colleen, round us out. Tell us about your podcast. It's
Sure.
with another person I adore too.
Yeah. It was kind of pandemic inspired. I had been wanting to do a podcast for a long time because I was like, it's gotta be easy. It's not, everybody.
No.
It's not.
It's not. But I had the name before I knew what we were going to do. So my dearest friend, Dana Curcioli, and I do a podcast. I was like, those two aunts, and it will be two. It's a character-driven, completely improvised podcast where Dana and I play two aunts who are best friends, and we have a guest come on, and they improvise in character. And it's just, it has really saved me to be able to have a creative project this past year. So. And it's great to have on our friends and goof around for an hour. So,
and is Dana out in LA now too, or no?
Technically, she went back to Cleveland for a few months during the pandemic to be closer to her family. So,
that's right.
I feel like the whole pandemic just shook us like pieces in a box.
Yeah.
All the box, and it's like we'll see where they land. But yes, her mail gets sent here that I've been collecting. Unbelievable.
You're such a good friend. Such a good person. It's funny you mentioned that thing of talking with your friends and having your friends on, because obviously this is what I'm doing right now, and I joked last time we did a show because I always used to complain about living room sets or other type of sets where it's just you sort of talking with your friends and you're not really putting in any work, but that's all any of us are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a riff and all. Really quickly, I have to point out, says Teresa Mitchell, Maggie's mom says, hi and watch your language,
Yeah.
Margaret Mary.
Yeah. She called me out by my government name, okay?
Better watch
I
Yeah.
love it.
Hey, Maggie, just let me know what you want to say. I'll say it.
Please, thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
You're going to have a hand signal for fuck, shit.
Colleen, fill in the
Always do
language.
ASL.
Pull out your Beyonce moves, and that means you're
Hey girl, Laura Gardner. Hey girl.
more relatives.
I love it.
That's
They
amazing.
really play along. They get in the spirit of the hey girl thing, which I'm loving. That's
Oh
great.
yeah, they're big fans.
Did I say hey girl to Michelle? I couldn't remember because I got so
Do it
I
again.
got so twerked out about Von Wink. Hey girl, Michelle. Thank you for watching.
So this is, this is where I get into trouble because you guys are fun to talk to, and then I just keep going down like conversation arms, and then I forget, like I have like a long list of questions. So I just want to like give you some of those. So who is the person? Let's start with Colleen. Who's the person, and it can be a comedian or person in your life, who makes you laugh the hardest?
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
No pressure.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. I mean,
or the most recent good laugh you got.
Sure. I mean, this is going to sound like a cop out, but I have just been so filled with joy. And every week I do a trivia night, like a homespun trivia night with some friends. Like we used to do bar trivia out here, and we just kept it going together. So we home make, it's not a verb, trivia questions. And I think there's a degree of like vulnerability and intimacy with this group of people out here that we've become really good friends with, and we just laugh like tears, like really cathartic pandemic tears of joy of like this ridiculous homespun trivia night. So I think like recently it just feels so emotionally productive to laugh with them and to just kind of work that stuff out. And probably also I just watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. Yeah. And that is peak, like, I guess because I'm becoming middle-aged. Cool, everyone, hit me up for work.
Yeah, this is really where the jobs start rolling in.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what they said when I got here, and I was like, I'm gonna wait it out. But that also, I do think Kristen Wiig is one of the funniest, and Annie Mumolo, that ridiculous, silly, and also an audience that goes completely, I think, ignored, which is middle-aged women. I think middle-aged women. My mom is probably one of the funniest people I know. So that's my long-winded answer.
I love it.
They
used to tell us at Second City, like, talk to the women, because the women are the ones who will talk to you, and they're also the ones that laugh the most. Like, that's the audience you want.
Yeah.
Miss Elana, who's hilarious to you?
Oh, well, it sucks because you're making me think of this, and I actually haven't seen him in too long. But I have a friend here I met on a play in 2008. His name is Javier Dominguez, and we have this ability. I'm gonna get emotional about it because but because of what Colleen is saying, like that. Even before like for us, our laughter, it's so rooted in our friendship and in our honesty, and just like sometimes it builds with no words exchanged, and we've been at risk of having a car accident because I'm driving, and we are like laughing so hard and just thinking about like, well, at least we die with these huge smiles on our faces,
and clean underwear,
like it's just something, I mean, which is what, built our friendship anyway. And so like I laugh a lot with a lot of people, and I get some good hearty laughs, but like the very first person who popped into my head at the question is Javier, and it's
That's
just
awesome.
This really pure joy,
I love it. Oh, Maggie.
Well, my days are mostly spent in an office by myself listening to podcasts. That's why I started one. And every week I look so forward to Tig Notaro's 2 podcasts. They are just the best. She does one with Cheryl Hines, and that's like about documentaries that neither one of them give a shit about. They just wanted to do a podcast together, and it's so funny. Like, I just want to be with them every day, all day long. And then she has another one about like advice that she clearly just also wanted to do a podcast. And they're just so funny. And I love how calm she is, because I feel like a lot of comedy that's coming out of like the pandemic is very like spastic and like, let me get to the mic. And she has not changed her delivery at all. She's still like very calm and just... She cracks my shit up. I've watched every Tig Notaro thing you can possibly watch during the pandemic, and I live for it. She's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A couple other things. First of all, apparently, so Laura Gardner says Maggie's mom's mouth, though. So is she giving you advice she doesn't take?
Yeah, absolutely. My
Does your
mom
mom
has
have a potty mouth?
my mom. Yes, my mom is the like cool aunt who got like all of her nieces and nephews in trouble, and like all that stuff. But I'm not allowed to say anything to her.
Well, that's fucking awesome, Maggie's mom.
Yeah.
Hey,
Elizabeth
girl,
Trapkowski.
Elizabeth. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Long time.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? And Jean, Penny Parker, who I love collaborating with, she says middle-aged women rule the world. She's absolutely right.
True.
Because together we are superpowers. Really quickly, we said this earlier, but I want to come back to it. Because I know I've done shows with buckets in the wings because of, working on a ship and having the, GI or whatever. What's the worst shape you were ever in when you did a show? Alana, what's the worst shape you were ever in? Push through it.
I must have had maybe the flu, I don't know, but I had this horrible cough. And like, side note, and also lesson learned, I had an understudy who would have been ready to go on. Like I didn't think about it till you prepped us for the question. I was like, I went out, but
that needs to go on your podcast for sure.
Right? Like my podcast has totally changed.
I don't want to program your show for you, but
y'all, this show. Okay, so this show, like my character had a stillborn, and it was unreal. Like it was surreal, like whatever. I don't know the genre, but the baby was like alive and looking for me. Okay. So,
was this in Detroit?
No.
Okay. I saw you in some shows in Detroit.
Okay. Now this one at least was like linear.
Okay.
And written by a woman who actually went through this experience.
Okay.
So,
okay.
It's like, yeah, no, that stuff you're talking about was something else. So the worst part is that there are moments I'm on a stage and I'm supposed to be. I'm not. The scene is not me. I'm just asleep. But this cough.
Oh.
And it was violent and vicious, and I'm trying to act, and it will not let me. And it was right, and I'm just like, and I don't want to cough over my, the girl over there acting in the other scene where she's supposed to be paying attention. It was the worst. And then like the times I could manage to like get through a moment or end up off stage, like I might as well coughed my toes out of my mouth. Like it was,
you coughed yourself inside out.
Yes, it was the worst. And only right now am I like, why didn't we have Bryn go on?
She was right there. She was at the theater that night.
You are committed.
That is ridiculous.
But there is a superhero thing, though. There isn't like, well, she'll go on because she's a pro. She'll push through it.
What I'm trying to dismantle.
Stupidity.
It is ridiculous. It is stupid. It is rude to ourselves. And no audience wants to see you coughing your toes out your mouth.
Give the guy who learned the part a chance to fucking do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm full of F-bombs. Colleen, what's the worst shape you've been in when you went on?
I couldn't think of one, and then I was like, oh yeah, I did a patch co in Chicago for the Second City. Patch meaning desperation co. It's like,
does that mean they threw a cast together for the show?
Yeah, it was like, oh, we have a show. Who can we drag along in this unholy nightmare? And and I, you have like 3 rehearsals and you learn a show, and then you're full of adrenaline already because you barely know the show. And I woke up with the flu, and there was no that was one where because there were 6 morons who were like, sure, I'll do that. And I remember I had such a fever, and I was like, everyone's going to get sick. And between scenes that I was in, I would just lay on the floor, shivering. So I was like, maybe, and I didn't have health insurance. I was like,
no, of course not.
No.
I can't wait to spend this $78 after taxes.
Oh my God, you got paid the same as we did. Didn't change. Oh man, it was worth it though to not be a wimp.
Hey, it all worked out, okay?
Because look, you're about to take all those great middle-aged woman roles in LA. Maggie, how about you? Have you worked?
Oh my God. Yeah. One time we were doing a sketch sketch show, and in the very first scene, we had to go backstage and run around the building and then come through the front of the house. And I was very excited, apparently, while running around the building, and I tripped and hurt my knee. And like, not just like a little bit, like this was already a knee that I've hurt before. So I like re-injured myself really bad. And it was the first scene of the like 90-hour show, apparently. And I had to do the entire show with my knee hurt. And afterwards, it was only afterwards that I realized like how in pain and how messed up I just did this. It was terrible.
I keep envisioning you as like Catherine O'Hara in Best in Show when she's like walking with that leg that's like wonky.
100%. 100%. I like always had to just be like arm on someone, like, you know, and it never called for it. Never, like,
you're doing some sit lean without the stand, like
yes. There's a chair in this scene now. Yeah.
Alana, were you in that show? I'm sorry, Maggie.
No, that's okay.
Were you in that show at Planet Ant when Brett
hit his head and was bleeding? Yes, I was just thinking about that. And he came out the bathroom bleeding and clearly lightheaded and still like when we were like, dude, he was like, I can do it.
You know how like, because head wounds, like even if you're not that injured, they still bleed a ton.
Yes.
And there's a room that's an exit we called it the pants room from an old bit. And so he came out of the pants room, but there was a platform. And so there was only like half the doorway. So he walked, his head went right into it. And he came out to do the scene and there was just like blood pouring down his face. And Antoine used to always be passing a stone in the middle of a show, but he would like, let's push comedy, you know, Antoine McKay. I was like, oh, guys, just go to the emergency room.
We can stop this. They'll come back tomorrow.
Right. So the other night, this is leading to a question for all of you. The other night, my biggest theater hang up happened within our family, and I was laughing my butt off. So if anybody's ever taken a class with me, you've probably heard me complain about this. Tiny cane. Like if people pretend to be old, they always like slap their hand on their back and then they have a cane that was made for Yoda. Like it's super short and they're bent over and it's like go to Benson's. Like they have canes for adult size humans. So my kid I was pretending to be an old man and he put this little cane down and was like, no tiny cane. I was like screaming in the bathroom of our house. So with that said, and I have other hangups like, you know, don't clap for yourself on stage, even if you're doing a set, and do not come out running out like, yeah, we're going to improvise for you and leap 7 feet in the air. So what are your hangups creatively for shows you watch or you know, people that you work with that you're like, nope, I can't do it? Do you have any of those?
I am afraid to speak
because they'll know who it is.
I mean, and there's
so many.
There's so many.
Okay.
Yeah. But I might.
Or you know, so this isn't my kind of show, right? Like I don't like live in front of a studio audience comedy or, you know, things that is like, nah, it's not for me. Colleen, you were about to say something though.
I think like Margaret, what you said kind of resonated with me, which is like applauding yourself. I think there's, we can slip into a dangerous mode of like being so self-congratulatory. You know, I think that improv already kind of feels like, it can feel a little bit like of an inside joke sometimes when you're an improviser on stage. And my partner has been on this kick for a long time now about like really including the audience. Like they're obviously a huge part of the show. And so feeling a little less like winking and nudging each other and like kind of that, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's part of the joy of being an improviser is feeling like you're part of a club and like you have this tribe that you found, but not being too up your own butt all the time about like, can you believe that move? Like, oh yeah, Ryan killing it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
The audience is going to tell you they're a real good yardstick a lot of like, if you're killing it and maybe use that more. just, and maybe that's also, again, I'm getting older and that kind of stuff just doesn't, it's kind of like, okay.
I think that's a whole other subject, is sort of like aging in this art form, but yeah. Good point.
I'll latch on to that in both improv, sketch, and straight theater, just not listening, right? And like, I can see you not listening. I can see you not listening as an audience member, but like, if I'm on that stage with you and I can see that, like, I want to smash your throat. Like, what else you got to do? Like, quit forming jokes. They don't work because you're making them up by yourself. And I'm here. Like, all of that. No, listen in real time. And we gonna make it funny, or we gonna tell the story. And hey, girl, Cassandra, and like, I just, that's
Cassandra,
big. That's so big. Like, just fucking listen. Everything goes so much better when you listen.
Yes, and honestly, I will say that, like, out in life for me, like in the workplace or anything, like people who. This is the thing, like, improv gives you superpowers, I think. And like, you can read people really, really well. And like, if there are people who, are formulating the next thing they want to say while you're talking, you're like, I mean, but what I say is really great. So you don't want to miss this. You're not listening. I don't have any use for you.
Yeah.
It's not just out of my own giant ego.
But
It's
still.
also, Maggie, what drives you nuts or isn't your thing?
I consider them like the doomsday players, which this can be applied to two different things, but when you're like in a scene with someone who consistently like will throw out just like the worst or the dirtiest or just like the most, it's just like, where am I going to go with that? And they always stick with that type of play. And it's like every once in a while it works out, but if you consistently are just like, the world ended today, or like, I'm going to say the dirtiest possible thing I can possibly think of right now. It's just like, you're not talented. You just can think of something bad or like dirty, And I just wish there was like people who realize they could be a really good audience member.
And aren't they kind of just looking for your reaction to that?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, yeah, and you must have something wrong with you because you couldn't justify this. Well, it's like, all right, yeah, okay, sure.
Great, all right.
I'll take that then from you.
Oh, amen. Yeah, I'm not down for that at all. Yeah, there was always, no matter what the thing of the moment is, there's always somebody who's willing to like just throw it out there, like, cancer. You want to talk about, like, nobody, it's a comedy show.
No one just like
nobody
loves to talk about cancer, like if it comes up, let's handle it, but
and be like legit and actually like have characters that deal with it in a real way.
Exactly.
Right. But I wanted to, and this isn't, I'm going off the list, but because it's something that I think is really important, and obviously Alana's putting a lot of work behind it. I want to know about the Chicago Inclusion Project, and I also just want to talk in general about diversity, equity, inclusion, and where we all are with that, and So Alana, tell us about that project.
All right, so it's we're coming up on 6 years ago. My one of my BFFs, MJ Gavino, here in Chicago, really just wanted to get a group of us together to read some classics, roles that we wouldn't be cast in. Just like let's try and find a way to show decision makers that we can also tell these stories.
Yeah.
And so what happened was it did happen, and we did this.
We did it.
We did a reading of Time of Your Life at Victory Gardens with an inclusive cast. At Time of Your Life by William Soroyan, it's a huge cast. And so I think maybe there was one like white cisgendered male in that reading. Everybody else, when we had, racial diversity, ethnic, and differently abled people in this reading. And so, that was like the thing that we were trying to do. Like, look what can happen if you just open your mind. And so since then, like we are a 501c3. We kept doing that work. We kept doing readings. But then MJ is very well. Not to say that I'm not, but she's very well respected, and she moves in more circles. Cause I still day job it. You know what I mean? And so she's like full-time artist, and so she can be in more places and see. And she ended up doing casting and stuff. So she's just like a pillar of the community. And so we have this organization, and people here, Chicago Inclusion Project. We kind of started to become a resource. For people trying to figure out how to be more inclusive, right? And so, which also meant that we had to learn how to be this resource that everybody decided we were, because we really just wanted to put on readings, and show people this. So it's kind of grown in all kinds of directions over these last coming up on 6 years, and where we are now in the response to, because we've also done like training series catered to marginalized communities, and we've done some of those virtually since this time. So everything's been hard. What's coming down the pike, I'm trying to summarize it best I can, because it's a lot. It's been a lot over these last years.
Sure. And
we evolve, we go, our work is like in cycles, right? So now, all of America is trying to do more DEI work, and we are building programming to help guide organizations. And we had already started going beyond just the stage, because we were focused on actors, even though we all had active interest in, who are your directors, who are your playwrights, like who's on your board. Like we were always kind of touching on that, but now we have kind of made that a bigger component of the work we're trying to do, and designers as well, and audience building and accessibility is a really big thing. And so we have all this stuff wrapped up in trying to educate folk and bring them along. And so, that is the Chicago Inclusion Project.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maggie or Colleen, because I know it has affected me writing wise. Has this change in our sort of societal views of diversity, equity, inclusion, or whatever, affected you in your creative life or in life, in your view of things? Or I know for me, like when I'm writing now, I'm much more aware that like, wow, I write white shit, like lots of white people doing white things. Like, have you had any epiphany moments? And obviously I'm trying to change that. I'm not going to just be like, man, that's who I am. Fuck it.
I'm good at it.
No,
they say write what you know.
Coming up.
I got posted in my critique group like appropriately, because I was like, oh, I want to put a Latino in this thing that I'm writing that's set in like Saugatuck. I'm like, well, he's like 19, so he's probably got like a beater car, because we all have a beater car at 19. And they were like, why does the only person of color have to have a fucking hoopty, Thank you. So, that it's sort of that ability or willingness to listen. Like, how have either of you been affected in this realm at all, if at all?
Well, for myself, I'm one of the producers of AWOL Theater Company, and we have like pop-up shows in Detroit every month. And we try very, very hard to have every show be diverse, including, race, gender, sexuality, all of that, and ability, everything. So we've really been able to find a lot more performers that you don't normally see, and in all of those categories. And it's really refreshing to see like every last one of them bring down the house just as much as when you go to a theater where it's the same 7 white guys, so it's been really eye-opening for me, and just to like be able to be a part of that and to laugh at different things that I normally would hear and all of that stuff. So it's been fun actually for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's not a well-kept secret that improv is a bunch of fucking white dudes in plaid shirts. So,
yeah.
What about you, Colleen?
Very briefly, for a while I was managing a theater out here that shall remain nameless, Iowa West, and I was listening to a podcast called Reply All, and they've been doing this series about Bon Appetit and the problems that Bon Appetit has had with DEI issues.
I read about that. Yeah,
it really resonated with me because at a certain point, we we had a consultant and we had someone within the theater volunteering their time to create basically a diversity program and to really start to take those first steps. And the podcast has really resonated with me. I've been listening to it the last couple of days just because there's this feeling. I think a lot of people, when you get to a place where you are a teacher or a manager or a director, and you feel like, hey, I clawed my way. This was hard to get here, and you're juggling a lot of things and you're spinning a lot of plates. And to recognize the fact that you might be resistant to newer, younger people who don't look like you coming in and saying, these are problems and we need to change things. And it was really a good reminder that we all carry that around with us. Like, I don't know a lot of people in the arts who have a lot of money or a lot of, we all kind of feel like we're scrapping it together, but to really examine the choices that we make. And when people come forward and they say, your organization is flawed in this way, and you're actually disenfranchising people from wanting to be here. So that just kind of resonated with me. I'd say with writing projects, again, it's hard for me to I'm sure, Margaret, I do the same thing where I'm like, this is the whitest, this is like a Laura Ashley dress from 1996.
Oh
it's
my
very,
God.
very bad. But
Laura.
But I think that has really resonated with me when people talk about what will happen to improv when the pandemic is over. I don't really ever want to run a theater again, but I think that people who want to start things over really need to have given themselves the opportunity to know better and do better. And
Amen.
Yeah.
I find myself like I'm working on my hearing skills, right? Because listening is one thing and hearing is another. And I feel like the hearing thing that's a muscle, and I'm starting to have muscle memory of, oh yeah, I heard that time. Like, oh, I wasn't paying attention, but now I am, even like you said with age, I was like the worst old lady in the office who's like, no, we come to work. We don't work from home, and we don't do, like any next generation.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but we are like about 8 minutes from the end of our time. We're probably going to go a little bit over, but that's okay because we have important work to do. We have some awards to give out, ladies.
Yes.
Some very important awards. Now, this started off, the Ally Awards started off because I was like, I'm going to do a show with women. Let's give out some awards to guys who don't suck, right? And like guys who like don't treat us like shit. But then it sort of turned into this really meaningful thing of like giving a shout out to someone who made a difference in your life and helped you as an artist or a woman or, person or, whatever. So, I would like to begin with Colleen. Would you please give out your Ally Award?
Yes, I will. Susan Messing is someone that I had the great fortune to be taught by, and I'd like to think of her as my friend since I moved to Chicago, and she was my teacher, and truly one of the most supportive. And talking about being a good listener and truly being someone who's malleable and eager to change for the better and eager to listen to people. She is truly walks the walk. And I'm getting kind of teary because I
get teary when I think about her too.
Yeah.
She has just always been there for me. Like seeing her, and then she kisses me on the mouth, and I need to work through how I feel about that. It's a positive. But I just love her, and I think that she has touched everyone that she's come into contact with has felt lighter, but some are also stronger for having known her. So,
and she loves so deeply.
Yeah.
And gives of herself so much. I applaud your choice. Congratulations, Susan Messing. You are the winner of an Ally Award. She was on our first episode. I have to have her back.
Yes, dear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Congrats, Susan. All right, Miss Elana, who would you like to honor with your Ally Award tonight?
My Ally Award goes to Jennifer Jones. She was my
Jones.
first professional acting coach at the age of 13. And just, I didn't even know how much I was learning from her until I became an adult. And, after spending the time that I had with her as an early teen, like we had some additional coaching in my early 20s. And then, once she was on Facebook, which is amazing to me that she's on Facebook, that I had access to her. And I was already teaching meta play, and I realized like how much of my teaching style came from her. And then when I did my one-woman show, and I asked people for pieces to build my show, I didn't actually write it. I curated it, right? And I asked her, and she gave me something, and so it was just, she's just always been like, and with the program that I was coached by her in, she did a monologue, and I'm 13, and everybody, all of the arts disciplines instructors, they performed in their field, and I will never forget her performance because it was just like, it was really just like, I mean, I didn't know her. That was my first time ever seeing her, but like seeing her do that monologue. And I promise you, like, I'm always on the edge. I've tried to ask her about it before, but she doesn't even remember what it was. But it was a thing that was like, I can tell stories like that. Like, I can see myself in her. And so it was really like, it's so great that she's my first coach and that she's been in my world all these very, very many years. So Jennifer Jones.
That's so moving. Congratulations, Jennifer Jones. Yay. You have won an LI award. Isn't it amazing with like the people you super look up to, and you have these moments that are like etched in stone for you, and you tell them, they're like, oh, really? Colleen probably saw this. Dana Curciola used to do that to me all the time. She wrote down like everything I ever said in class, and she would like, remember that time you said this, and I was like, I mean,
sure.
I was on a rant. I say a lot of stuff that I regret. So thank you for reminding me. Right? Not that I'm her hero or anything, but Maggie O'Reilly, please give out your Ally Award.
Well, mine is
your full name.
You and my mother tonight, telling everyone my business.
Mary Margaret Mary.
Yeah. Mine is a good friend of mine, both on and off stage. She's the only person who makes me feel absolutely like I can do anything in life and on the stage. And she's just helped me in so many aspects of my life as being a stronger person and performer. And honestly, when I'm on stage with her, I know we're going to have like the most fun ever. And that's Nouvelle Nami.
Yes, it is.
She is my queen.
Who is also on the home team.
Yes.
You guys got on around the same time.
Yeah. She was like shortly after me, and I was just like, this feels right. This feels good. Yeah. Well, we both need to be here together, or I can't do this.
I don't want to like show you behind the curtain too much, but there was one of like, well, we want to add Maggie and Nouvelle, right? So which one do you want? I don't know. Pick a week. Which one is first? That one? And then a few weeks later, we'll do the other one.
Oh, I didn't mean in terms of me going first at all. I just meant like we needed to be there together.
No, you're better.
Yeah. Take down her award. I want it.
I like a tick. I mean, it's not much.
By far, I am not better. She is my life.
Nouvelle is amazing. Congratulations, Nouvelle. You are a winner of an LI award. Yes. Wow, I can't believe we pulled that off in time. I
have a mini award.
Okay.
A miniature.
Well, I like bonus awards.
Yeah, it totally is because it's pivotal.
You just reminded me of my kid. He does that at dinner. Yes, Oscar. What is it?
For raising my hand. I do it in like real meetings and shit. Like I'm ridiculous.
I love it.
But because
bonus award.
Oh yes, Jess. Thank you. Okay, because I got to make it fast because we don't have a lot of time.
No, it's okay.
So, being like, most of the time the only black person is one thing. Mm-hmm. Being the only black person and whatever. Like there's a lot of intimidation that can come with that. And then, so I took one of your classes one time at Planet Ant. I think just one. I mean, obviously I was beside you on stage. Deal of the time.
You
but
did.
I took a class and I I was still kind of sorting through like my place in improv and sketch. Oh God, I'm gonna choke up again. Because of course, you know, when you're first getting into it, like everybody seems so smart,
Yes.
right? And you're like,
And everyone knows what they're doing. Yeah.
right? You know, you have all of this. And it didn't matter however talented I may or may not have been. It was like, I don't know what to say to these people on the stage. And well, I don't even know what we were talking about in class, but I said something about that sort of, and you said to me, but the reason I asked you to be in this class is for what you bring, right? And I had never thought about that.
Choked up.
You know, I just had never thought about that, right? Because I'm just in this space. I want to make the funny, like I want to do what people are doing that makes the funny. But I never knew until then that what I contributed had value. And I could make the funny based on what I did. And it's not like I didn't know nothing. You know, like I just thought I didn't know how to be funny. But I knew how to listen. And I knew what I knew. And so because you said that to me, and I never forget it, and I talk about it sometimes, like it empowered me to own what I bring to the improv and sketch table, and to know that it's worth something. And so you get my bonus award.
I don't know what I love more, the beauty and honesty of that moment and how touching it was, or the fact that Colleen's boyfriend was laughing in the background of the whole fucking thing.
I love both moments.
Oh my God, Alana, that is like the most amazing thing of all time. That was, thank you.
Oh,
You know,
I don't remember it at all.
Margaret said the opposite thing to me, so I don't know what that means.
Truly, yeah. She lined us up and told us to leave.
The main reason I asked you here, Colleen, is just because I felt badly about that.
Yeah, I
And I'm trying to make
She's like, can you just pick someone else? Anyone else?
She told me there's one Margaret in town only to leave.
I'm working my steps, guys. I'm trying to make amends.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I could do this for another 3 hours, but damn it. It's the end of our time together. I can't fucking believe it. So, God, I've been swearing like crazy. So before we go, let's throw out some websites and some projects and stuff that you're doing, and or just stuff that you think is cool that you think other people would like. If you want to recommend stuff. So, Colleen, what are you up to? Tell people how to see your stuff.
The thing I'm working on the most is my podcast called Those Who Ant. It's spelled like it sounds, and it sounds like it's spelled. And you can find it where we're on Apple Podcast or Spotify or anything else. But I say do that and just be kind. Just be nice to people, and those are my plugs.
That's an awesome message. And we did put a link to Those Who Ant on the Hey Girl Facebook page.
Yay.
So,
Hey Girl.
So if you have any trouble finding it, you can find it there. Alana, tell us how to see your stuff.
I got a show I directed that is a one-man show that's streaming on Broadway World right now. It's called Here Lies Henry.
Awesome.
With Interrobang Theater Project. So you can go there, the lovely link there. And my podcast is You're On in 5, The Art of Understudying, and you can listen to it on every platform that's out there. So do those things. And I agree, be kind.
Be kind. Again, Alana's podcast, there's a link on the Hey Girl Facebook page if you are a Facebooker. We put that up this morning, so you can check it out through there. Maggie.
Hello.
About your stuff. You better finish with be kind. I'm just saying it's a rule of 3 things, so don't fuck it up.
Tell everyone to fuck off. I'm just kidding.
Be a dick. Fly to Cancun.
Go to Cancun. No, absolutely. I am also just going to shout out my podcast, Vulnerability, TEA at the end. You can find it on Apple and Spotify. Other than that, I am fully have taken this time to heal mentally from everything and just allowing myself to calm down. So that's important. So if there's a lot of you out there having a hard time, be kind and be kind to yourself. Okay.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been embracing the grace.
Oh God, yes.
Embrace the grace, y'all.
Yeah.
I adore each and every one of you, and I am so amazed at all the things you do and how kind you are, and talented and funny. And I had just a hell of a fun time tonight. So thank you for being with us. Thanks. That looked fake, but I really did mean it. Like, thank you, Jess, and thank you to everybody who watched us live. If you're watching us recorded, I hope you still had fun. It wasn't the same, though. No. And if you're Maggie's family who's watching it recorded, you probably have been guilted into this. So I'm proud of you for making it to the end. All right, we're 5 minutes over, so that's all we got time for. Love you all. See you next month on March 20th for early Mother's Day. You'll see when we get there. Bye-bye, friends.
Bye.
Hey.